You're with the Breaker-Leggers, and we're in Stratford-Upon-Avon at the RSC
to see William Shakespeare's Titus Andronicus.
So stay tuned to find out how many legs,
whether it's break a leg or leg it.
Before you go any further,
to make sure you've always got your finger on the theatrical pulse
for theatre news, reviews and interviews,
make sure you hit that subscribe button now.
Titus Andronicus?
That's it.
Am I saying that right?
Yes,
Titus
not Titus Erogenous.
Definitely not that one. So Titus Andronicus, what do we know about this?
Well, it is making up part of the Rome season of plays this year at the RSC, which
comprises of
Julius Caesar,
Antony and Cleopatra,
and this one, Titus Andronicus. And all of these plays are going to be transferring to the Barbican for a limited run at the end of the year. So even if you're not geographically Midlandsy, you can be down in London and see these shows.
And am I right in saying it's also being broadcast live at some point?
The 9th of August.
Oh, you've not got long left, literally days,
might
maybe
even
hours.
Now. Yes, by the time this is out, it might be literally, are you at the theatre right in the cinema right now seeing this live broadcast? Because if not, you've missed out.
So this is written by William Shakespeare.
It is indeed. It's one of Shakespeare's, well, apparently it's Shakespeare's most bloodiest and violentest play.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it already.
Yeah,
actually.
me too. A lot of his tend to be pretty gory and pretty depressing as it is, but apparently this one takes it to the whole new levels. We're talking about like Saw levels of brutality, I think.
What is the story about?
The story, it's a revenge piece about a nation turning against its leader and a leader setting about revenge on key members of his opposition.
And am I right in saying that this is written mostly agreed that it's mostly written by Shakespeare?
Yeah, his authorship was disputed probably most heavily for this piece, although now it is widely accepted that it is his own work. But I suppose if you're dealing with like 400-500-year-old texts, you lose track of who's done what.
And also, although set in Rome, it isn't actually historically accurate.
No.
It's more based on medieval myth and legend.
Absolutely, yes. So unlike some of the other, the other ones in this series, Antony and Cleopatra and Julius Caesar, they are historical plays. This one is more of a, I'd say, artistic license one.
Cast,
we have David Troughton playing the title role. Having a whiz through his credits, he's done Doctor Who,
Casualties probably,
obviously, and if he hasn't been in Game of Thrones already, coming soon. It's 2 hours. It's 3 hours in total, including a 20-minute interval, and that's where we'll catch you again.
We've come to the interval of Titus Andronicus, which means it is time for the Breaker-Leggers 30-second interval breakdown. Go!
So, what do you think so far?
Well, I don't know if it's written by Shakespeare, more like Wes Craven and Stephen King, because it is pretty extreme in its violence. You said at the start it was like Saw.
I think it's a bit Tarantino.
There is no kidding, Tarantino. I'm really, really, really enjoying it.
For me, something's not quite landing. I'm not feeling the tension. I feel like the dramatic pauses are being skipped over. Some of the delivery for me is really lacking, but I know you're enjoying it.
Loving it. Can't wait to go back. We have come to the end of Titus Andronicus here at the RSC. It's very late. It was 3 hours long.
Yeah, and we overran apparently into the interval as well, so an already long play became even longer.
So what do you think of that?
Much better in the second act. I've got to admit I was dubious coming out of the interval into the second act as to how much pace they were going to be able to deliver. I felt that it was very, very text heavy in the first half and then really relied on action, and the language was much better kind of delivered in the second act for me, but it didn't land until all the pieces of the puzzle came together. It was almost like building a jigsaw, and then by the interval I've got a certain fun to a point in it where I felt I don't really much interested in what the picture's going to be at the end, so shall I carry on with this jigsaw? But I'm glad that I did. How about you?
I loved it from start to finish. I've never been so engrossed in a Shakespeare. It was pretty epic on a kind of Goodfellas scale, on kind of a massive
Godfather.
Goodfellas and Godfather, on all of them, in terms of revenge, strong families, manipulation. There's a bit, we said there's a bit of a Hamlet in there as well, kind of using madness to seek your revenge. It's dark, really dark and gritty and pretty horrific. A nice thing about this production as well, that it pulled out the humour pretty well, especially in the second act.
Yeah, that
across the fourth wall.
Really enjoyed the humour actually, surprisingly so. You come into a Shakespearean tragedy and you don't expect belly laughs, but there were some. The audience was kind of lapping up the humour, and that was a real nice surprise.
Yeah, and that's the genius of Shakespeare, isn't he? He has the fool playing all the kind of comedy stuff and the funny in amongst all of the blood and the loss of life and the despair all in one. And they really knew that. They tapped into it and they're like, yeah, we're being funny now. Now we're taking the mick.
Yeah. There was a lot in it, it's got to be said, that we've seen in other Shakespeares with regards to plot and kind of devices in order to tell the story. I'm starting to think of Shakespeare as a little bit of a Lloyd Webber, i.e. wrote one good song once and then decided to put a few notes in a different order and then call it a whole new musical. I'm slightly feeling about this with Shakespeare.
It's kind of rehashing the same stuff.
It is a rehash. It's, oh, okay, it's a tragedy. I'm going to need a dinner scene with a family death at the end. Oh, it's Lear. Oh, it's Titus Andronicus. Oh, it's Hamlet. It is in them all. It is absolutely that. But he knows to give the audience, and it's certainly an Elizabethan audience, he knows how to give them what they want.
Absolutely. I imagine at the time they wanted to see these strong characters brought to justice in the most
brutal
way.
Yeah.
And it's literally everyone dies, the sacrifices. I imagine back in the day around the globe there would be gasps and shrieks from the audience, almost like on panto-esque proportions, like no, screaming. There was a point when I don't want to give a spoiler, but there were points where almost the audience were going, no, don't do it, don't carry on.
Yeah, they were really drawn into the story and to the violence. The depiction of the violence was very extreme, very extreme. So I would say this definitely one to bring the kids to.
Yes, one for the kids. Panto and this one. The making it modern worked really well. Some really nice modern touches, mobile phones and Deliveroma as well. It just knew exactly what it was. The band was great as well. They had 4-piece brass band as well as live musicians. Any particular cast members that stood out for you?
I think David Troughton in the lead part as Titus gave such a convincing performance. It's a great role, to be honest. It is everything from high intensity drama and shouting and I am the ruler, right through to light camp humour. It's got a full range as an actor's part. Yes. And I could see that he relished in that and he delivered it with such enthusiasm and believability throughout, even though it was absurdist at times. I fully was bought into, as did the characters surrounding him, into his personality types at different times. It was a wonder to see.
Yeah, it was, right from the general just coming back from war to having the family name questioned and standing up for that, what happened to his children and the loss and despair, then being able to laugh at it.
It's almost frighteningly, it almost caught me off guard a little bit because it was frighteningly kind of
diverse.
Yeah, and I believe
spectrum.
And at times where he's trying to portray himself as one thing, and there's always this underlying kind of tension of it will he, won't he, is he? I felt a little bit unsettled by him, but in a really good way.
Yeah, I think the good thing is it was always a surprise. You could never just sit and go, okay, I've seen what he's going to do with this now. Just as you got comfortable with one thing, it changed
he pulled
into
something else out of the bag,
which kept it fresh, kept you on the edge of your seat, kept you on your toes.
Tom McCall as Lucius, we saw him in Julius Caesar as well, and we pulled him out then as someone to keep an eye on, and I've got to say, he solidified his position as a great actor and someone and a great understander of text. He is a director's dream.
Yeah, he had quite a small part in Julius Caesar, really, and yeah, we could pull him out from that, from what he put into it. And the same in this. He's not giving it so much. Sometimes he knows just when to pull it back, and the audience then just gets lured in, which is such a great skill.
Yeah, he has wonderful talent, and we were saying that if he gets in the right role and in front of the right people, he could be lifted to the kind of
heights.
Yeah, to the highest heights. Absolutely, one to watch out for.
He's a name
Tom
to watch.
McCall. You will
McCall.
See him again.
I mean, we're going to keep an eye out for him as well.
Absolutely.
Also, another name from Julius Caesar who we recognised from the RSC was Martin Hudson.
Yeah, Martin, again, totally convincing. Much beefier role in this one, though.
Very committed.
Yeah.
It's just something about. It's a great space as well. The RSC is so close to the action, and yet they're giving so much in terms of enunciation and passion to the text, which is exactly what it needs.
The real skill and the real expertise here, and is the director's hand. Now that's because Shakespeare in a bad director's hand can be the most painful 3 hours of your existence. Short of a dentist's chair without anaesthetic, it is like pulling teeth, seeing bad Shakespeare in the bad director's hands. But Blanche McIntyre, who's directed this piece, has said, I think she acknowledges that. She more than likely knows that it can be a real stretch for an audience. And
so she's put in the effort to make it
she's not going to let us.
dynamic.
She's not going to let us be bored.
Yeah, it's a really good point, and she has brought a real array of production to this, passion and performance, making it modern. It moves really fast. I know. I think you said in the first act you didn't feel it moved so fast, or it moved too fast, but I think it moved extremely well.
Yeah, not for me. Like I say, didn't land until the second act. This is really a Shakespeare for the Game of Thrones generation.
It is. It's like a Game of Thrones piece. You know, it has the revenge mastermindry of Cersei Lannister. You know, this is. I was watching it thinking, this is where the writer gets it from. If you like Game of Thrones, this piece is for you. This production is for you. It'd be interesting to see another version of it, to see if it holds as much weight. This one was great. So,
I bet you're wondering how many legs we are going to give this one.
wow! For Titus Andronicus,
Playing firstly here at the RSC before popping down to London for a limited season at the Barbican. We are going to give
4 legs for this piece of very well-deserved 4 legs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 2 for me going into the interval. I was so unsure about whether I wanted to finish that jigsaw, but bloody hell, the pitch at the end was beautiful.
Yeah, I was enthralled from start to finish, which for Shakespeare is hard
An
to
achievement.
do. It is an achievement, and there are some great Shakespeares out there. I do love Shakespeare, but I don't know this.
Hats off to this director. Blanche, you've done a fantastic job.
Fantastic job. Please, I recommend you see this. I would almost say it's not for everyone.
I'd say it was more for...
Quite hardcore.
You say it's not for everybody. I would say it's actually probably more for those people that don't think Shakespeare's for them, just as a different angle. So yeah, okay, it's not for everyone. Maybe it's not for the traditionalists, for the real hardcore, I want to see it done in a traditional setting with, you know, period costumes and, you know, very little lighting and back to the roots of Shakespeare. It's not for you. For those people that can devour on Netflix a full box set of a series like The Walking Dead, or something like The Sopranos, or something like that, then this is the Shakespeare to see.
Yeah, if you've got a partner who's just into football and is like, oh, I don't want to go no theatre, I don't want to see no Shakespeare, bring this to the, you know, this is the one. It's
They'd
like
be
Reservoir
surprised.
Dogs. It's like the grittiest thing you can see.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Tell us what you think.
Make sure you drop us a comment.
Yeah, subscribe,
Follow us on Twitter.
like.
We're the Breaker Leggers.
We'll see you again soon.
Bye.